Yo, yo, what's good? What's good, people? It's your boy Kelvin. We're behind the bench. Big shout out to everyone out there. Hope everyone's blessed, doing well. Hope your family's blessed. Big shout out to the new subs that came through. Appreciate y'all subbing up and checking us out. Uh, check out our other content and videos that we done. Check out the content by the other gentleman in the group, JB, Rashad. Also check out Kobe Bryant Film Room. Y'all sub up to his page, check out his content. And also check out Big Dog Talk Sports. Check out his content, sub up to his channel also. He has good content. And y'all sub up to those gentlemen. As we continue to grow and move forward and grow the page. All right. I'm going to talk about this Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq's been in the news lately. He made a statement on TNT the other night. He was talking about Steph Curry and, whether he should be in a GOAT conversation. That's another video for another day. But I came across this segment with Mad Dog Russo, Stephen A. Smith, and Jay Will. They were on ESPN First Take. And they were debating whether Shaq is a top 5 center of all time. And of course, Mad Dog Russo is more of a guy he's a historic guy. He come from the baseball world. He's more of a historian, and he more sides with the older players. Of course, Stephen A. Smith, Jay Will, they more of the new school, more current players, more modern players. And, they giving their takes. And when I listened to it, Mad Dog Russo made a lot of fair points. See, I'm not emotional like them. I listen to what they have to say, and you can either agree or disagree. I listened to what Mad Dog Russo had to say, and he made some very fair points. So let's hear what he got to say, and I'm going to give you my commentary. Let's go.
We got to hear Shaq now do this. Shaq is what? The 5th best center in the history of the NBA?
What?
Fifth.
What?
Shaq. What do you mean, what?
Who's the fifth?
Okay, he's saying Shaq is the 5th best center in NBA history. He's going to go through it. Let's hear what the man got to say. But we get all emotional. Who? What? Huh? Oh my God! Let's hear the man out. Then you make your opinion where you want to agree or disagree with him. Let's hear him out.
Or ahead of Shaquille O'Neal. Have you lost your damn mind?
What? You want me to
Just
name
sure.
him?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Kareem.
Okay, the first name he listed was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. No debate. Kareem, to me, is the second greatest player of all time. As far as centers go, Kareem is much better than Shaq. Next.
Okay.
Will. No.
I'm not giving it to Will.
No, you guys are crazy.
I'm not giving it to Will.
No. You're not going to put Will Chamberlain, who averaged 50 points a game and scored
Who
100
is
a game
a
and
foot
30
taller? Who is a
You're
foot
nuts.
taller
You're
than
nuts.
99% of the league? Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith talking absolute stupid shit. The average height of the centers back in that day, I believe, was 6'10". So Will Chamberlain wasn't no foot taller than everybody else. The height difference is about the same. It's not that much different. I think it might be an inch or a half-inch difference or something to that effect. But Will Chamberlain played against some great competition, great centers. We know he played against Russell, Walt Bellamy, Zelmo Beatty, Willis Reed, Nate Thurman. He played against a young Kareem. He gave Kareem trouble. When he was older, when Kareem was coming into the league. He also played against, I believe, Wes Unseld, who's a Hall of Famer also. Like, this stupid shit about, oh, man, Will Chamberlain just turn around dunking on smaller guys is stupid, ignorant. Will Chamberlain is much better than Shaq. I'm sorry. He's a better defensive player. You got to keep in mind, they didn't have all defensive teams back then until late in Will Chamberlain's career. I believe it was the 68-69 season. So when you look up his stuff, it shows only 2-time all defensive team. If they would have had his full career, Will Chamberlain would have probably been a 7-8-time all defensive player. Shaq made it 3 times. Will Chamberlain probably led the league in blocks. Him and Bill Russell would have been back and forth. I don't know how many times. Let's see how many MVPs Will got. I believe he has 4. 4 MVPs, 10 times All NBA. Led the league in scoring 7 times. Like, what are we talking about? He got 2 championships. Will Chamberlain was the lead guy in 2 of the greatest teams of all time, the 67 76ers and the 72 Lakers. Now, he didn't win more because he lost to Russell, and a lot of those series were close. That's because Bill Russell had the better team. It wasn't like Will Chamberlain wasn't showing up. They had a lot of very close series that went to 7 games and stuff, 6, 7 games, and Russell and them just won because they had the better team, playing with all those Hall of Famers and stuff like that. Like, Will Chamberlain is no debate better than Shaq. Next.
Yeah, the most dominant player in NBA history. Who was stopping Shaquille O'Neal in any era?
And who's Tim Duncan is better than he is. Tim Duncan's better.
Now, Tim Duncan, I do agree. Tim Duncan all time to me, I have Tim Duncan ranked ahead of Shaq. But Tim Duncan to me, now people will say later on in his career he played some center or whatever, but we all consider Tim Duncan a power forward, the greatest power forward of all time. So when we talk about centers, we're not going to include Tim Duncan, okay? Because he's more known as a power forward, even though, yes, technically later in his career, he did play some center. So we're not going to include him. But as far as all time, I have Tim Duncan in my top 10. Shaq is not. But let's continue. Let's hear what the man has to say.
And I'll tell you something, 2 other guys.
That's not a center. Tim Duncan's
Elijah Wan is better. Who beat him 4 straight games.
2-time champion of Shaq's 4. No scoring titles to Shaq's 2. What are you talking about?
And I tell you,
Hakeem Olajuwon is a better player than Shaq. First off, he's much better defensively. Hakeem Olajuwon won Defensive Player of the Year, I believe, twice. Led the league in blocks 3 times. All defensive team 8, 9 times. Let's see. Hakeem, all defensive team 9 times. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Led the league in rebounding twice. 3-time block champion. Led 2 teams to the championship, and the 95 team was a 6 seed. Shaq ain't never do that. Hakeem Olajuwon on the eye test, more skilled offensively. Hakeem Olajuwon swept Shaq's ass in the finals. No debate. Hakeem Olajuwon is a better center than Shaq. No debate. Next.
There's somebody else who's better. You can laugh all you want.
I love Hakeem, but he won Shaq.
Oh, he's a better player than Shaq. Oh, God, he's better. First off, he played Shaq and he beat him 4 straight games.
That's exactly right. I just said that. They played in the 95 finals. Hakeem dog Shaq. Swept him. Next.
Better player. Tell me what better player means to you, doggy. I'm waiting for the definition, please.
Okay, first off, who did Shaq beat in the NBA final in the pivot?
It's not about who you beat.
Well, yes, it is. He beat Jason.
Great point. Here at Behind the Bench, me, Shy, and JB, we have discussed this many, many times. Who did Shaq beat in those finals to win finals MVP? A washed-up old Rick Smith, a older Mutombo, while still good, but a older, not prime Mutombo that he was in Denver, and Jason Collins and Todd McCullough for the New Jersey Nets. Give me a break. Give me a break. This is the reason why, for me, and I'm only speaking for me, yes, he has 3 finals MVPs and those 2K video numbers, but they don't hold much weight because you weren't playing nobody, big dog. So, of course, you're going to put up video game cartoon numbers against some fucking bums. What happened when you played the real centers? You weren't putting up 36 and 40 points and all that when you played Hakeem in the finals. He swept your ass. See, when Shaq was at his dominant point in those 3 finals, all the great centers and stuff had retired from the 80s and the 90s. All of that era when they had the peak centers. He was playing against old, washed up nobodies. And see, people try to put all this emphasis on those finals MVPs because they try to diminish Kobe. That's all it is. That's it. But Mad Dog's 100% right. Who did you beat in the finals? Who did you play against? Nobody. Next, let's continue.
Jason Collins, Rick Smith, and who was Philly's center? And I'll tell you right now, he's not better than
Jason Collins, Rick Smith, Mutombo, and Mutombo not even really an offensive threat. He's a defensive guy. Todd McCullough. Like, come on, bro. Next.
He's not better than Moses Malone.
What?
There's no chance. Don't give me that.
Oh,
what.
my Lord, why?
Now, Moses Malone is debatable. Me personally, I have Moses Malone ahead of Shaq slightly, but it's debatable. They're very close. Moses Malone is very, very criminally underrated. Very hard worker, the greatest offensive rebounding big man in NBA history to me. Led the league in rebounding 6 times. Led one of the greatest teams of all time, the 83 Sixers, to the finals and the championship. Beat Kareem twice in the early 80s in the playoffs, 81 and 83. You know, Moses Malone was very, very, very underrated. Moses Malone 3 times MVP, Shaq once. Like, it's debatable. I think peak Moses Malone's better than peak Shaq. He can still, peak Moses Malone get you 30, and he go rebound better than Shaq. And he gonna make his free throws. So who do you want? Give me Moses Malone slightly. So we're looking at Kareem, Russell, Wilt, Akeem. 4 centers, definitely better. And then we got Moses Malone, which is debatable. So Mad Dog is not too far off on his assessment of where Shaq is ranked all the time. He's not. But see, you cats get all emotional and stuff. Oh my God, he's the most dominant center. Who can stop Shaq? And how many times did Shaq get swept in the playoffs? 6, 7, 8 times? I can't even remember. Like 6 times? And he played with a lot of great talent. Played with Penny Hardaway. And then got beat. Nick Anderson and all them in Orlando. Played with Kobe. And the only time he was definitively better than Kobe was that 1 year in 2000. And even in that run, in the most important game in that playoff run in the year 2000, that game 7 against Portland, Kobe was the best player on the floor. Kobe saved a fucking dynasty because they were talking about breaking that team up because they got swept, I believe 3 years prior to that, 3 years in a row. Go look at that game 7 when they made the comeback and all people show us the alley-oop to Shaq and Shaq pointing to the crowd and and jumping around, all that dumb shit. Kobe was the best player on the floor. He won that game when Shaq was very pedestrian in that game. Now, yes, in the year 2000, he was the MVP of the league, scoring champion, led the league in scoring. He was the best player. But 2001, 2002, in the Western Conference playoffs, which everybody knew was the real NBA Finals, and especially against the Spurs, Kobe was the better player. Go look up the numbers when they played the Spurs. Kobe was the best player. And a lot of time in the Western Conference, they was more equal. And everybody tried to say, well, Shaq carried Kobe and all this old stupid shit. When the game was tight and they needed a bucket, who did they go to? They didn't go to Shaq because Shaq would get fouled and go to the free throw line and miss. They would get the ball to Kobe. Kobe would hit the clutch shots. Kobe would hit the free throws. Kobe would go out and guard the toughest perimeter guy. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? I'm not saying Shaq didn't contribute and Shaq wasn't dominant, but most of the time in the Western Conference playoffs, Kobe was the better player in the West. Go look it up. But y'all want to talk about them finals MVPs when he played against fucking bums. So yes, Mad Dog Russo, in his assessment of Shaq being the 5th best center, that is a fair assessment. It's debatable between him and Moses Malone. He right. 100% right. And I got Moses. Give me prime Moses over Shaq. I don't care if you can disagree. It's my fucking opinion. Give me Moses over Shaq. That's right. So, anyway, just want to go over that little segment. So, I know it kind of, everybody was talking about it and laughing at Mad Dog, because everybody loves lovable Shaq. Well, Steph Curry, man, you should be in the GOAT conversation and all that. Everybody loved the lovable, huggable, fun Shaq. But Mad Dog is not too far off on his assessment. Actually, he's correct. I agree with him. He's the 5th best center of all time. Let's go over it again. Kareem, Russell, Wilt, Hakeem, all better. Then let's talk about Shaq or Moses Malone, whoever you want to take. Give me Moses. If you want Shaq, cool. That's where he's at. And he's not a top 10 player of all time. For me. That's just my opinion. But hey, let me know what y'all think in the comments if you want to comment. And that's that. That's my time. I'm out.